stop there. The problem is humans are hierarchical by their very nature, like dogs or parrots or most other active creatures, but much more advanced. And so someone isn't going to want to design a new computer or design a new algorithm or an idea or a new phone system, or if they can't, quote, sell it. We're competitive. We're not honeybees or ants that are communal creatures. So what happens is every time the public's sold on this utopia Valhalla, it's used by the controllers, the master planners, to set up an even more stratified society. A true free market will create the greatest equity and the greatest diversity. What are you seeing now? Socialism being used by the bankers who use crony false capitalism through government to bankrupt the economy and suck it under their control. So this is just the classic stuff that Marx and Engels had to say, and it is true with all the new technological developments that we could empower ourselves, have much safer working conditions, not have all the toxic waste and junk, and that humans then need goals like going to space and then corporations being funded to do that, and not wasting our money on wars and fighting. And so they call for in this film a world government to implement the the end of war and all this peace. But that's what the globalists said 100 years ago. So they funded World War I, and they bragged, they funded it to scare people into accepting the utopia. We have to scare them to do what we want. No, they wanted to have wars and consolidate power. And then, World War II they staged. That's declassified to, again, get their United Nations. Then they hand out nuclear weapons to Pakistan and others to, again, have to have their police state. So I'm all for a planetary federation, but with sovereign, independent, diverse countries that act as firewalls to corruption. And then if they all want to go vote on planetary directives and ideas and space exploration or technological agreements, but still, the section of the train in the U.S. is owned by the U.S., and the section of the train in England is owned by England. The section of the train in China is owned by China. And if the people pay for it, it's got to be in law that it didn't hand it over to some corporation, because they become government. So, again, they just simplify this so much, and it totally sells weak-minded people, and it's very dangerous, because he gets into, competition will be eradicated, profit will be eradicated. Oh, who's going to eradicate? You're going to force. That's hardcore tyranny. Back to the clip.
When industry takes on a machine, instead of shortening the workday, they downsize. You lose your job. So you have a right.
All right, hit pause. No, what happens is corporations fool us to downsize 50 years ago, putting a thank you on the trash can and using peer pressure and our gentlemanliness to throw away the tray of McDonald's food. Then everybody adopts it. Then you get no service and end up paying as much or more. Just like everything was self-service, cars lasted longer, people filled them up, they were taken care of, you got service, it gave people entry-level jobs, but then you accepted them phasing that out. So no, we demand higher service. We demand higher quality. We demand, you see, and you're going to still need technicians to run all this. This system would stagnate overnight if they were able to do this. Now, the globalists do plan to set this up and call it a utopia. It's going to be a technocracy over us. We're in this sub-area below, and you got these technological spires with the technocrats above, where they eradicate our normal instincts for peace. But the elite gets to keep its instinct of domination. No, good people have to combine together against other powerful groups of evil people to keep a level playing field so we can have our liberty. This is a very dangerous film. Let's go back to it.
In a high-technology, resource-based economy, it is conservative to say that about 90% of all current occupations could be phased out by machines, freeing humans to live their life without servitude.
All right, let's hit pause.
So this is the point.
Freeing humans to not own their own businesses, freeing humans to not have to strive and work, to be on Prozac watching TV all day and wire-headed into the Matrix. That's why they wrote Why the Future Doesn't Need Us for Wired magazine, where the elites say, because of this, they don't need us anymore, so they're just going to kill us. And then that's the eugenics idea that goes back to Malthus 250 years ago. Here it is.
For this is the point of technology itself. And through time, with nanotechnology and other highly advanced forms of science, it is not far-fetched to see how even complex medical procedures could be performed by machines as well, and based on the pattern, with much higher success rates than humans get today.
Well, they're already. Hit pause. See, there's the implication that this technology isn't being somewhat deployed and that machines aren't already doing some of the surgeries. But the problem is they're suppressing the real developments and the public's not getting that. And they've also collateralized the healthcare system in a derivative, so they're ripping you off to make investments because the insurance companies are cheating you. So, of course, we're going to be able to have longer life. But the elite want to freeze the technological development with the fake green revolution, with the new carbon taxes and the regulations, so that we don't get access to this. It's meant to kill economies right at the point when we're about to be freed by the technology. Back to it.
But our monetary-based structure, which requires labor for income, blocks this progress. For humans need jobs in order to survive. The bottom line is that this system must...
Hit pause. Humans have had to hunter-gather. They've had to have agrarian. They've had city-states. This is how we're designed. So, see, the idea is they're eradicating money. That means your family farm. That means your family patents. This is theft. And there's always control freaks pushing this. Back to it.
Never be free, and technology will be constantly paralyzed.
We have machines that clean out sewers. It frees a human being from doing that. So look at machines as extensions of human performance.
Furthermore, many occupations today will have simply no basis to exist in a resource-based economy, such as anything associated with the management of money, advertising, along with the legal system itself. For without money, a great majority of the crimes that are committed today would never occur.
Hit pause. The system knows that. That's why they make drugs illegal, to then control the black market and make larger profits and have an excuse to criminalize 87% of the public that smokes marijuana or has smoked it. 87% of drug users, that's about half the public, only smoke marijuana. And so the idea that criminal minds won't move on to other things that are illegal. They're criminal because they like to be criminal and because there's profits to be made in things that are illegal, like currency. That would then be illegal. No, then you wouldn't have money to defend yourself. Then you're at the whim of whoever runs this system. Then they'll say, well, committees will. You imagine all the control freak, lazy wannabes that want to move into your houses, that want your life. And then there's still going to be better looks. There's still going to be stronger people. There's still going to be stuff they want. So how do they standardize that? Well, the packs of scum come and kill you is what they do. Somebody's always going to want your wife. Somebody's always going to want your business. Somebody's always going to want what you got. And it's these people that want it. Here we go.
All forms of crime are a consequence of the monetary system, either directly or by neuroses inflicted through financial deprivation.
Oh, really? Oh, stop. Statistically, psychopaths are more well-to-do. Statistically, a lot of crime comes out of boredom. Idle hands, the devil's workshop. This just isn't true. Continue with it.
Selves could eventually become extinct.
Instead of putting up a sign, drive carefully, slippery when wet, put abrasive in the highway so it's not slippery when wet. And if a person gets in a car, they're drunk, and the car oscillates a great deal.
Wait a minute. How does somebody work and service the machines and fill them with aggregate, fill them to go cover the roads? Or how does someone work to design the roads as an architect and get paid? Oh, but machines run everything. So now we turn our just like people could calculate better, they could spell better before spell checkers, before calculators. I'm not saying get rid of them. My point is you're talking about a bunch of blob jellyfish like out of Wall-E. You've seen that movie, floating around on the holodeck of some cruise ship. I mean, this is unbelievable. Back to it.
Pendulum that swings up and back, and that'll pull the car over the side. Not a law solution. Put sonar and radar in automobiles so they can't hit one another. Man-made laws are attempts to deal with...
Yeah, hit pause. Again, the technocrats will make laws through the computers that you can't drive your car yourself. That way you'll be safe. See? Which is what the Pentagon says. We're going to put you in a tank with a wirehead, no more war, no more nothing, and if perception's reality, you're going to love the wonderful life you've got in cyberspace, so you're going to be emplaced in this. Go to the next clip, because I'm not going to have time to play all. I'm going to go back into this part 2 tomorrow. The AC's broken here in the office, and in Texas is still hot, and I'm sweating, and show's almost over. Go to part 2, and because I want you to hear this guy this futurist with all the spaceships in the background behind him, like, ooh, boy, that's what the communists would do. They'd show you spaceships and say, now we're going to have this wonderful utopia. No more work, ha ha ha, after we line you up and shoot you in the back of the head. Of course, this intelligentsia guy is the one they'll kill first. Because the bleeding hearts will go, this wasn't my plan, as soon as it's implemented. And, John, I'm losing my ISDN line here on my end, so go ahead and reconnect with the other one. And then we'll fade that up, please, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. I don't know how long this one will hold in Minnesota. Go ahead and go to the next clip, and then a few minutes into this, he talks about money, competition, jobs. They're going to be eradicated. You're not going to be able to open up a hot dog shop if you want. Well, who makes the hot dogs? Who has the meat? Who raises the cows? It destroys the diversity of the beautiful free market system that the socialist controllers, the bankers, have taken over, and then they ruin it and then blame what they've done on us.